Fuck
Okay.
you guys.
Oh God. All right. Yep. Okay. Begin now.
All right. So welcome to Late Night Idle Talk. First and foremost, this is Spence Defense. Uh, as of I believe yesterday or maybe this morning, Anthony Cumia, one half of the Opie and Anthony show, got fired for quote unquote racial comments on Twitter. I'm a firm believer that whatever somebody does in their personal life, even if it is on a social network, shouldn't matter to the place that they work at. I'm sick and tired of people getting crucified for the things they say outside of the workplace. I don't care, and this is the problem with a lot of workplaces nowadays in the United States. It's become too corporatized, and when things get too corporatized, they become too sanitized, and to the point where they worry about their image because as long as they got a pristine image, they'll make more of that money, and to the point, and it's become this big excuse. And I hear this excuse all the time that well, you have the right to say whatever you want, but if a company doesn't want to hire you or keep you on the job for for whatever it is you said, well, that's your loss. Really? It's this is we're not talking about we're talking about, first of all, First Amendment right. We're talking about a place that you go to get money to put food on your table. I know this guy makes a lot more money than most people do in a week, but it's pathetic that our society has come to this politically correct. What's the word?
Cesspool.
Exactly. We've become we've gotten to the point where, and what bugs me the most about the fact that about us losing this First Amendment that our country was founded on more than any other amendment ever, is, God, where was I? First,
We're not allowed to speak how we feel, and
exactly.
it affects us everywhere.
What bugs me the most about this, it's just it's the fact that we're giving too much power to words. We're giving too much power to derogatory terms. We're giving them more power than it needs. I thought the whole point of if you're going to overcome bigotry or whatever, then don't give power to bigoted words. But no, we got to give so much power to the point where we have to rip them. Remember the whole debacle going on with what was it, Huckleberry Finn, because it had the word nigger in it. One of the characters' name was Nigger Jim, and they wanted to take that out of the book, despite the fact that the author Mark Twain was pro civil rights. Yeah, how about that, you fucking liberals? You're taking the word nigger out of a book written by a guy who was pro civil rights, probably over half a century before the Civil Rights Bill was enacted. You fucking pro-liberal, pro-sanitization pieces of dog shit. I had it. I used to think the conservatives were the only people that were bad. But after what happened here, I realized right off the bat, liberals are just as fucking bad. There is not, you Democrat sucks, Republican sucks. There is no party that gives a shit about you and your rights. Left and right and fucking center, up your ass and down your fucking throat like some fucking gay porno orgy. We are losing our rights. We are losing these freedoms that we ignorantly still claim to have right here on this glorious day of 4th of July. I don't know if this is going to be uploaded on the 5th or the 6th, but right now, as we were recording, this is the 4th of July, and I'm celebrating the birthday of our country, not with joy, but with a sense of dread.
And Jim Beam and
Jim Beam and Pepsi.
You know, here's another thing about that. You want to censor somebody, what they say? That also gives power to those words even more. How many times have I played online video games and I hear kids, just for the shock value, say these racial slurs? Well, one, they can't get beat up for it, and two, they like the idea of it being offensive. In the moment you put something as a taboo, it automatically becomes sexy and wonderful. But at the same time, you look at these things, it's not just the First Amendment that we're losing. Every chance the media has that they can, you see them trying to take away your guns, they see them trying to bring in new wars for our sons and daughters, brothers and sisters to die in. We're being taxed out our asses. We didn't used to be taxed like this. We got things like the Federal Reserve lowering the money value of all the shit that we've got. Do you like it? I certainly don't.
I don't. And while you're mentioning this, I just want to say right off the bat, you've talked about these guys for a couple of times, but I don't think you've been venomous enough. So I'm going to go right here and say it. Fuck you, TYT, you fucking liberal cocksuckers, going around making this out to be bigger than it fucking is. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Anthony said a lot of things that are racist. Yeah. These are the same shit he said on the show. He was saying this shit on the fucking airways, but because he said this out of an actual incident that occurred, that's why he got fired. Because an actual incident occurred, not because of the things he said on Twitter, but because of the thing that incited it. So fuck you, you motherfuckers. You want to be a part of MSNBC, but they won't hire you because you're a bunch of twats. Fuck you. Talented fucking liberal pricks.
All the Young Turks are just fucking sensationalists. They'll take something and they'll bend it and twist it to whatever the fuck they can in order so that they can look like the sexy fucking, oh yeah, we're the news guy.
MSNBC, they want so badly to be news anchors on MSNBC, but even with their shitty ass ratings, they won't cave in and hire those twats. Good luck getting that job at MSNBC. You never will. You never fucking will, because you have no fucking talent. You're not enjoyable to listen to. You're typical. You're shit.
Yep. But they've got so many viewers. Yeah, and that's because the mass majority of their viewers are fucking kids.
But you know who's used the Young Turks? I'll tell you who views the fucking Young Turks. A bunch of college little snot-nosed punks who think they're changing the world, even though the only thing they're changing is their lives when they go have their little sex orgies and fucking knock up a bitch and ruin their fucking lives. That's the only thing they're changing. Their shitty ass fucking lives and making it shittier. Fucking college cunts.
The only people who actually look at the Young Turks, it's the same people that you see that honestly think that if they give a like on Facebook, it's going to change the world in some way, shape, or form.
I've been to college and there are no orgies, just so you know.
None that you were invited to.
No, I knew when the parties were going on. I've been to most of them. There were no orgies.
Jesse?
I'm just kidding.
I want to let you know something, okay? We have the freedom of speech in this country. Can I have the freedom to exaggerate?
Yes, but I like to be...
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He just wanted to make a point. All right, let's calm down a little bit. You know what? Let's get angry a little bit.
I'm trying to add a little bit of humor by saying that. Don't worry about it.
Let's get a little bit more angry.
I understand your perspective, Marty. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Jesse's not going to get the blood of my anger.
Now, let's continue on here. What other rights of ours have been taken away? The right to freedom of speech? How many NSA guys do we see fucking watching our shit? You can't say anything without the fear that you're going to go to Guantanamo Bay if you just disagree with the government. I disagree with a lot of shit, and so I verbally put that shit out.
Well, they're trying to take away they're trying to take away the Second Amendment. They've already taken away, I believe, the Fourth and the Fifth, whatever those are.
No, the Fourth is still in place because I've used that quite a bit.
How many times do we see fucking cops show up, knock down doors, and do searches and seizures without warrants? How often do we hear that? And how often do we hear of cops walking through fucking yards without any reason and just shooting dogs?
I don't know all the constitutional rights and numbers, but I do know that they've taken our right to privacy. They've taken away our right to a fair trial.
Yeah, with the National Defense Authorization Act.
Think about that next time you have a divorce. If you're a guy and you're in divorce court, you are so fucked.
Precisely.
We're talking Sigourney Weaver at the end of Alien 3. Fucked.
Oh God. Yeah. That's terrible.
Agreed, Marty?
Exactly.
Thank you.
But let's continue on with that. I mean, we're talking about equal rights, and yet at the same time, people, let me describe it like this. I am a minority. I'm Asian. I am automatically approved for things like welfare and college and financial aid and shit like that. Guess what? I know white people who've been trying to get into college who are not approved for that shit simply because they're white. Me being half a minority because my mom, she's Asian, my dad, he's not, automatically means that my dad can't get that. I get that shit just because I'm half. Simply by being a minority. Okay, the color of my skin, but what the fuck does that mean I have the ability to do college? Did I do well in high school? Fuck no, I didn't. I'm amazed I even fucking passed. What about the character of the individual here? Huh? Just because... Go on.
Anytime I hear liberals talking about equal rights, I want to fucking take my fist and slam it through the fucking screen. Here's why. Because to liberals, equal rights, and, Republicans don't even give a shit about equal rights, but to liberals, they're all about the equal rights. But the thing is, their view of equal rights is crooked because it's not equal. Here's why. Their view of equal rights is white man, bad. Blacks, Hispanics, Indians, Asians, good. Because the white man has been on top for so long, they need to get their comeuppance. Listen, okay? I'm Jewish. There's a big stereotype about how Jewish people run the world and they get all this entitlement. I've lived on this planet for 26 years. I haven't been entitled for jack shit simply because my dick was circumcised by a mohel. Okay? Get it?
Continuing on with that idea. Another thing is that this system of special treatment for certain people based on race also, at the same time, creates a lot of the problems that you see in these communities. These low-income, hood-like communities, they're shit because you got so many people living off the government. They're pretty much forced into poverty by the way the system is worked out. You think black people love living up the gangster paradise simply because that's where they grew up? No, a lot of people want to get the fuck out, but they can't because they're surviving on the system.
Great song, by the way. Check Coolio out, kids. In case you haven't heard of him, Coolio for the win.
Yes, out of all the songs that talk about gangbanger lifestyle, that's one of the ones that I love. Because the mass majority of the shit that I hear about talking about gangbanger lifestyle glorifies that shit too. Another thing, you see all this glorification of the negative of society. And yet, if you have minorities talking about the negative sides of their societies, the fucking subcultures that they live in, it's okay. But if you hear a white man sing a song about hanging niggers and, being a racist fuck, you instantaneously want to ban it.
The glorification involving ghetto lifestyles is ridiculous on a level that was staggering. Going back to when I went to high school between 2002 and 2006, the rap music, particularly anything involving, gangster rap, rap songs about living in the hood, it was so popular back then that in my middle-class town of Spotswood, New Jersey, middle-class town, middle class, we have like one slum in our area, and it's just a bunch of white junkies. Middle class, nobody's struggling. Practically nobody is struggling where I live, and here you have a bunch of these white kids with their caps to the side and their pants belted tightly to their thighs, throwing dice in the hallway.
because it makes them look cool.
Yeah.
That shit should be looked down upon no matter what race is bringing it up. But of course, if it's a minority doing it, it's automatically glorified. But if it's a white man doing it, it's looked down upon.
It does not make them look cool. It just makes them look like a bunch of fucking retards with their pants around their ankles.
I'll be back. I'm being paid. Yeah?
Marty, we need you.
Yeah.
You know, that really ticked me off, you know, when I was in high school, because here we are, middle-class white kids. We've got it good. Why are we trying to emulate a bunch of people who don't have it good? Merely because we're doing... I'll tell you why. Because it's being glorified by MTV as this cool fucking shit.
Me personally, I grew up in a town where a lot of the people had absolutely fucking nothing. And, yeah, that might have been understandable, except for we still didn't walk around with our pants around our fucking ankles shooting dice like a bunch of retards. Yeah.
It ticks me off, but you know what? If it's freedom, if that means freedom of expression, okay. Well, we are losing that freedom of expression. We're losing so many freedoms. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking, you know, and all because of the fact that it's all about sensitivity, not just political correctness, but it all boils down to sensitivity. We need to be sensitive to other people. We need to be sensitive to the wrongs that, you know, look, slavery, real bad fucking shit, okay? I have no responsibility in that matter. I had nothing to do with the black slavery that went on between the 1600s and 1865. Nothing to do with that. My entire family wasn't even living here when the Civil War ended.
And me, the minority, I actually had family on the white side of my family that was in the Civil War as Confederates.
I'm sick of being told that I have to be sensitive to other races when I had nothing to do with their strife, okay? My family has nothing to do with their strife. My family came on here on a boat like everybody else.
My mother came in an airplane.
Jews.
But I hate this idea that, oh, we're white, we're sorry that we're white, and therefore we automatically have privilege. No, you fucking don't. White privilege doesn't exist.
You know, that would be like me being Jewish and telling some blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy of German descent that he should be sorry for the Holocaust. I'm sorry, especially if he's my age, he has nothing to do with it. I don't expect an apology from somebody of German descent. I don't. As a Jew, I don't expect an apology from people of Egyptian descent for biblical era slavery. I don't expect anybody of Spanish descent to apologize to me and be sympathetic to me because of the Spanish Inquisition days. I don't expect any people of Russian descent to be sympathetic to me because of all the pogroms they had. I don't expect any fucking sympathy. If anybody deserves sympathy, it's the fucking Jews. But I don't ask sympathy because we're not living in that time. We're living in the now.
I don't ask the Japanese for sympathy over the fucking war crimes during that time period, the World War II. And guess what? I live, the lifestyle I have chosen is more Japanese than American in many respects. I do Bushido. I'm Buddhist. I live the samurai code. The only thing I don't live is I'm fucking lazy, and that's my own fucking fault. But look, am I blaming anyone for my strife? My strife is my own fucking fault. I'm not saying that it's, a white man did it, or a black man did it. I'm sick of all of this fucking irresponsibility, of people wanting to blame other people for their problems.
And I'm sick of living in a society. What the hell's going on? I'm sick of living in a society that enables people who have suffered races that have suffered in the past, but now actually do have the rights to do something about them, to do something and make something of themselves. We enable these people to live the way they do. their fucking expressway to fucking paychecks. Look, I go on SSI. You want to know why I go on it? You know why I have SSI? Because it's hard for me to hold a job because I have what's called Asperger's syndrome. I suffer from high functioning autism. Had nothing to do with my race. It had all to do with my disability. People are getting people are getting welfare checks, and a lot faster than I did, simply because of their race.
It's bullshit too. It's complete
How about-
bullshit.
How about we keep these motherfuckers in school? Maybe they wouldn't need the welfare checks if they got a fucking education.
What
But
if
no. They
we
have to be like, more money, go on the fucking streets and deal drugs.
we need to change the welfare system. Rather than giving out a free fucking paycheck, why don't we give somebody a job instead? This is what I think the welfare system should be. Okay, you're on welfare. You're gonna start working at this fucking construction site this place. We're gonna start working on our infrastructure that is fucked. We're spending so much money on war that we have nothing to do with, that we have no real control over, instead of working on our infrastructure like we should be.
Very
That pisses
true.
me off. How many holes in the roads do we have? How many bridges are about ready to collapse, and we're doing nothing about it? We're not gonna do anything until a bridge fucking falls apart and people die.
Oh, trust me, New Jersey's doing a lot about it. Every fucking town that we rode through with my mom. Fucking construction work here, construction work there. It's hard to drive anywhere with all the construction work going on. But you know why? It has nothing to do with the fact that we're trying to prevent anything. It's because we had a lot of snowfall, and thus it ruined a lot of the roads.
I don't know what the weather's like in New Jersey, but it sounds like
It
it's shit.
it snowed all the fucking time this winter. I was this close to entering an insane asylum because I was suffering from such bad cabin fever.
I'm kind of glad I was on the tropical island for the winter.
Yeah. You were
That's a scary thought. Jesse sipping margaritas on a beach.
Sipping cheap beer on the beach.
As somebody plays the steel drums. Yeah, man, she gonna do the jiggy.
There's
Can't
no
do a Jamaican accent.
but there's plenty of Moringa.
Oh god.
Plenty of Lisa and Kojam playing in the background.
Can you feel the baby within my heart? Even in let that in the dark.
Oh yeah, anyways, as I was saying before, when I left earlier, it's because my dad decided that he was going to give me a watermelon. You guys remember when I blew up the watermelon when I was younger, right?
No.
Okay, first year in high school, I decided to fill up my watermelon with kerosene, and my friend lit the damn thing on fire by pouring kerosene in it, a piece of toilet paper, yeah, all that other shit. I hit it with a bat, and the thing fucking exploded. Now, this is the time period where I'm trying to stay out of trouble and shit like that, and my dad gives me a fucking watermelon and tells me to go have fun.
I don't think it's that kind of fun, Marty. I think he wants you to drill a hole and you know the rest.
Yeah.
That's
The
what you
watermelon was green, that's why dad gave it to me.
do. Go buy some tannerite, you hollow out the watermelon, fill it up with that, then shoot the fucking thing.
Yeah. That requires a rifle. Because tannerite does not...
Get a good like artist to draw a picture of Barack Obama on it and just shoot it with your 1911.
I can just print one out. Barack Obama is a fucking asshole. Let's talk about how much of a fucking waste of space the last, 6 presidents we've had were.
And by the way, I've been ranting a lot about. And by the way, before you go on, I've been ranting a lot about the liberals in this vid. But you know what? Don't think you're getting off easy, fucking Republicans. Fuck Ronald Reagan, that fucking piece of shit.
He is a terrible person. And
Which one was it, open relations with China? I think it was
Bill Clinton.
Clinton had a lot to do with the shit that happened in China.
No, I'm thinking who originally started it, and I'm fairly sure it was Nixon.
I don't think Nixon had much to do with it, if anything. But I know with NAFTA and GATT.
Wiretapping.
With NAFTA and GATT, that was Clinton right there. NAFTA and GATT had all to do with Clinton and nothing to do with a lot of the other guys that we blame for our problems. You want to say that Bush was a terrible person and that he ruined the economy? What about Clinton? Clinton promised 400,000 green jobs. The first year after NAFTA and GATT came about, the first year, we lost 170 some odd thousand jobs. The year afterwards, 130 some odd thousand. The year afterwards, about 90,000. Year after that, about 70,000. Now, why is this?
There is one good thing you can say for Clinton, though. He actually did balance the budget. So.
Yeah. But there's one good thing I can say about George Bush. He was too busy coloring, trying to make one that fits the fridge. Maybe if I get in the lines, this one's gonna go in the fridge. He forgot to re-sign the, what the fuck was it called again? The exact name of it. The assault weapons ban. So now we can get 40-round magazines, 30-round magazines. It used to be everything that you had with AR-15s had to have a fixed magazine well, bullet buttons, and all that other happy shit.
By the way, I want to correct myself as far as my rant on Reagan. I don't know if I really hate him as much as I hate the people who worship him. What has he done? And they always tell me the same fucking thing. Oh, he ended communism. He single-handedly ended communism. Yeah, like he was fucking Rocky in Part 4.
I've never seen him.
Here's the garbage job. Tear down his wall. I'm gonna be your worst nightmare. Fucking assholes. He was an old coot, that managed to get the win in the Oval Office. Stop kidding yourself that he's some fucking hero. He wasn't. He happened to be in office the moment the fucking Communist Party was collapsing. Now you're gonna go on this revisionist history like he was a hero. No, he fucking wasn't.
I hate hearing that.
I'm going to repeat that for those who don't understand. I'm going to repeat that really slowly. Reagan didn't collapse the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was on the verge of collapsing while Reagan was in office.
Perfect.
Do you understand? You fucking retard pieces of dog shit.
Perfect. They don't understand. They want to stay to their fucking idea that, oh, my guy is better than your guy. But no. Did you ever consider that maybe perhaps your guy is just as much of a piece of shit as the other guy? No. Obama was just as bad as McCain was going to be. And honestly, looking at it, I swear to God the elections were rigged. Who in the fuck can take Nayland Palin fucking seriously? Mrs. Iraqistan.
People that have the same intelligence as her. If you have less than 4 teeth in your mouth and it has nothing to do with methamphetamines, yeah, you're all for Palin. If you wear flannel shirts in 100-degree weather summer because it had red, white, and blue plaid, you love Sarah Palin.
I hate these people.
If you think mullets are still relevant in the year 2014, you love Sarah Palin.
My ex-girlfriend had a mullet.
Dear God.
She was actually a nice girl.
It's not a nice haircut.
Oh yeah, she looked terrible with that fucking mullet.
Yeah, girlfriend my ass. She was looking at another girl's box while telling you she loved you.
Well, she is bisexual.
I don't think so. Don't say that, Spence. That's stereotyping.
I'll be right back. I'm being paged again. Yes! I am eventually.
That awkward moment when Marty has you fucking running the show.
Yeah. I don't run shows very well. I'm too used to doing my own shit by myself.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't put
I'm gonna
videos
try
up
my
anymore.
best. What?
Yeah, you don't put videos up anymore, Jesse.
I've been thinking about it. I just can't fucking figure out what to do.
Yeah, just smoke reviews. But, yeah, I was being paged. My dad wants to know if I'm going to destroy that melon or not.
How about just tell him you're going to use it as a masturbatory device?
God damn it. Not at the moment, sir!
Or you could just tell them you're going to take a hatchet to it later and have some fun.
It's like, if I went outside right now with my 45 and just shot the shit out of it, Dad would get pissed off. Because, one, we're in the city limits, and two...
Tell him you're busy changing the fucking world, okay?
Dude, you really need to get a suppressor for your 45.
Yeah, I don't feel like filling out the paperwork for that. Plus, I think the bang sounds nice.
Well, no one said you had to fill out paperwork. You can just use a potato.
If you think blonde highlights on your jet black hair is sexy, you love Sarah Palin.
Oh, God.
Anybody who says they can see Russia from their front door in Alaska needs to die.
Oh, God.
If you think Britney Spears is the ideal mom, you love Sarah Palin.
That's just as terrible.
If you think Susan Smith is the greatest mother who ever lived, fuck you.
Oh, God. It
Most
just
of you
went
don't know
from
who
bad
Susan
to
Smith
worse.
is. She was a wonderful lady who decided to drown her infantile children in the bathtub.
Didn't she give the excuse that she got a message from God to do that?
Didn't they make the game The Binding of Isaac about that shit, too?
I don't know, Marty. All I know is she drowned a bunch of kids in a fucking bathtub.
God told me to. This is why religion is bad. I see so many atheists that are fucking just pricks. Wanting to point out why religion's bad without thinking about the problems that atheism may cause.
Actually, I'm gonna look up Susan Smith right now to make sure I got my facts correct. Otherwise, someone's gonna go over there. That's not the world. That's some other chick. Susan Smith did it. All right, shut up, Susan Smith.
It's like there's 6 different variations of atheism, and the one you're referring to is the anti-theist. So.
Yeah. But you see them, they're always like, an atheist wants a hospital to be built instead of a church. Okay, how many hospitals have you made? And 2, how many hospitals do you see with the name Saint whatever in front of it? Churches, a lot of the times, will build hospitals just for shits and giggles. They'll build the hospitals. Who runs the hospitals? That's debatable depending on the church that runs it.
Okay, I fucked up. I'm glad I looked this up. It wasn't the girl who drowned her kids in the bathtub. She was the girl who basically locked her kids in a car and pushed it into a lake. Same fucking difference.
Might as well be. You got a lot of religious psychopaths here who won't pass good laws because God said not to. Really? Is that what God said? Fucking Sarah Palin saying that God told her to run? If God told you to run, do you think that maybe you would have actually got voted in, bitch?
Now, folks, 5,000 years ago, the earth was created, and God said, let there be light, let there not be fags run around fucking each other in the ass. Apparently, we didn't listen, and we've got to repent for our sins by telling the gays that you can still fuck each other in the ass, but you can't get married.
Read the Bible, and it mentions nothing about gay people, so all of that.
Yes, it does. It does. Leviticus. A man should not sleep with another man as he would with a woman.
Should not lie with another man as he would with a woman. But you know, same fucking thing, I might as well be.
In that exact terminology, there's nothing wrong with gays, because they just don't want you laying down with another dude, which is Weird.
Well, that's a problem with the Bible, okay? It was written in an ancient version of a language that isn't English. But of course, majority of Christians are English-speaking people, and they're going to interpret it in a fucking translation that may be fucked up. But they don't. But for all they know, it was written that way.
They want to go by what they want it to say rather than what it actually says.
Better said. You said it better, Marty.
I view it as an entertaining fiction more than anything else. That's all it really is.
And you know what? I'd rather have you look at it like that than take everything fucking literal. Because even a lot of Muslims don't look at the Quran.
I have nothing wrong with the Bible existing. I have a Dewey Rames Bible, I have a King James Bible, I have the Orthodox Study Bible, which I consider the most superior English version of the Bible you can get your hands on. But I don't take it as literally as these religious people because I put reality into perspective. And you know what I hate the most? Fucking creationalists. Even Jews think they're fucked up. Like were's the thing. When it comes to dinosaurs, the Jews believe that we are living we are living in human history. They believe that dinosaurs lived in a history of Earth before us that wasn't documented in the Bible. Creationalists? How could that be? The earth began and God said, let there be light and let there be man. So dinosaurs had to have lived the same time as man.
The Bible talks about dragons.
Yeah, they believe, it's like, dinosaurs weren't mentioned in the Bible because that's a modern term, but they're like behemoths and other animals described in the Bible. So that has to be dinosaurs. No, motherfucker. The Bible's written by a person. It was written by people a long time ago to keep shit in order. Homosexuality and masturbation were sins, were considered sins because they don't reproduce children. They required the tribesmen of this particular religion, Judaism, I should say, because that was the first. That's what started it all. To continue reproducing because it grew the tribe and made them more efficient in those wars they had every 5 fucking seconds back in the day. That's why they're sins. I gave you your fucking answer. Why is homosexuality a sin? Why is masturbation a sin? It's not an abomination. It's because it didn't produce children and thus wasn't efficient to producing soldiers to fight the wars that they were having every 5 seconds. Thank you. Good night. Have a good night.
Along with that, you also see these idiots saying things that make absolutely no sense. Let me give you an example here. Muslims, most Islamic groups will actually say that their book, that the Quran, is a continuation of the Bible. And yet you see so many Christians saying things along the lines of, no, their God is different, their God is the God of the moon, blah, 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 blah. But the Muslims say that they're a continuation. No, they don't. My God's better than your God. Shut the fuck up.
You realize I believe Allah is... Let me tell you something. I don't know what the word for God is in Hebrew, but it's definitely not God. The word God is a Christian term. But Jews believe in that same God. We don't call him God. What?
I remember correctly, the Jewish word for God is Yahweh.
Yes.
I think you're right. It's definitely one of those Hebrew words that is not mainstreamed because the biggest mainstream religion is Christianity. But the thing is, we call it Yahweh. The Christians call it God. But it's basically the same fucking deity. Allah is that same deity. The difference between... One of the big differences is that they don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God, or even God, depending on who the that's a funny thing about Christianity, I think the Catholics believe that Christ and God are the same person, whereas the Protestants believe that Jesus was the Son of God. So there's your fucking religion in a nutshell, Christians. You can't even keep your fucking facts straight about what fucking Jesus is. But yet you love him so fucking much. Ooh, controversial. Don't say that. Blow me.
Precisely. That's why I don't like that. That's why I don't like all these groups talking and just spewing shit they don't understand. But then again, you get a lot of that in Buddhism. Let me give you an example here. Currently in Myanmar, there are a lot of Buddhists murdering and pillaging Muslims. But these Buddhists do not understand the exact meaning of Buddhism and the things that Buddha himself required of people. So this murdering and pillaging, that'd make Buddha cry. That's why you see the monks of the Buddhist temples allowing these Muslim villagers in Myanmar, inviting them in, showing them places where they could set up camp, showing them the places that they could stand up and do their prayers. You know, like the guy who stands on the minarets and shit.
As opposed to a friend of mine who had a problem buying a former Jewish friend of mine who had a problem buying me a bacon cheeseburger because it went against his religion. Isn't that fucking interesting?
It's dumb. We see too much hypocrisy when it comes up to religion, period. That's why I don't like people who live completely in their religion without thinking about other possibilities.
You know, Jewish people might have a problem with eating pork, but I still bet they love the smell of bacon.
Oh, who wouldn't? You're not human if you don't like bacon. Oh, vegans are gonna be like, oh, don't say that. They're animals, they have feelings. Yeah, and we have bicuspids, which means we're supposed to eat them, so shut up.
I love the taste of bacon entirely way too much.
Forgive me, folks. I know I'm being very moody and nasty, but fuck it. What I woke up to this morning just pissed me off so much. I can't be nice about the shit going on in this country anymore.
There are too many
the shit
people
going on in
who
this
are
world
dumbasses.
anymore.
Too many people are acting like fools, wanting to be treated special because of their views on things. What we need in America is what America started off as. A small set of rules, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out. I don't give a shit. And within those rules, it was like this. Oh, you do something I don't like, but it's for the rules? Oh well. It pisses me off that you do it, but oh well. Not much I can do about it. Now you got people going to court saying bullshit. This person offended me in this way, shape, or form, therefore we should put them to jail.
And here's another thing, okay? I actually just thought of something. You know, even Republicans aren't very keen on the First Amendment. They're not as all up in arms about what people say as much as the liberals are. But conservatives, when you say something, when you have one criticism about this country, oh, they get in a tizzy, sister. They get enraged. It's
you don't like it, get the fuck out.
But you know what? Here's a real quote from Thomas Jefferson. Dissension is the highest form of patriotism. To translate that in modern English, if you really feel close to your, if you feel like to be a true patriot to your country is to be able to criticize it when it does something fucked up.
Precisely. Let me give you another example here. There are some assholes within one of the militia groups that I associate with. Unfortunately, this person is now a commanding officer in the group, and which is making me consider leaving it. He said, I'm not going to give you a quote verbatim, but what he did was he posted a picture of a Canadian guy who was talking about the use of torture against militants over in the Middle East. What he was talking about was this. He's okay with torture so long as it's not to them, but if it happens to Americans, oh yeah, he's going to throw a hissy fucking fit. Here's the thing, the moment you start torturing other people in other countries, it's going to eventually come around here. Because it's like, well, we use torture to great effect over all these Muslim people. Why don't we start doing it to our citizens in order to extract information from them? Because it's unconstitutional, you fuck. I don't give a shit about the fucking terrorists getting tortured. I don't. But the moment you start doing it to American citizens, it's going to spread. The moment you start doing it to the fucking terrorists, it's going to spread to the American citizens eventually. And that's why I'm against it. And you see these liberals. Oh, guns, they kill people. We should ban them. You know, I once watched a movie about where only the police and the military had guns. You know what that movie was called? Schindler's List.
Fuck yeah.
If you haven't watched it, you fucking should.
Marty, you
that's what
didn't tell me
America's
you
become.
watched it, you fucking asshole. I wanted to hear your review. L'chaim.
You know what? And here's another big thing. When it comes to privacy and this mob mentality of people, has anyone ever seen the movie 1984? I have.
Yep.
I've seen
Not
the
me.
original.
I'm the only one who hasn't seen it. Sorry.
God damn it. I've seen the movie. I want to get a copy of the book, but the library doesn't have it. Oh yeah, library. One of those things that the cool people don't go to anymore. Yeah. Go fuck yourselves. I watched the original 1940s movie and the remake in 1980s. And what it is, essentially, is that people are loyal to a party in continuous war and spend all their time living in service to the party and the wars that they fight. And yet there's this mass population of people who, if they was just to rise up, the entire battle would be over. They wouldn't have to deal with the tyranny of the party, destroying everything. And that's what I want. We don't have to deal with the bullshit that we're handed on a daily basis. We can speak out. We are the people and we have the power to do that. You think Hitler rose to power and just immediately started doing the evil shit that he did? No, it was a gradual thing. Just like today, everything's fucking gradual. It is. And it's evil. That we're not doing anything about it, that we're just so complacent with it. I hate this shit. Why the fuck aren't more people standing up? I've been trying to tell people for years that we need to start being verbal.
Either because they're too ignorant or they're too afraid of the repercussions. You need to be able to have proper changes in this country. I'm sorry to say, you need to be willing to go to jail, and you need to be willing to take a bullet to the brain. And people don't have that kind of courage.
Not anymore. And it's sickening to me. It is. It's complete bullshit.
I'll admit, I don't have that kind of courage. But I can see that. But I'm willing to have the foresight that that's the kind of courage you need to make changes in this country and in this world. To make willing changes, you should be willing to live a life where you're looking over your shoulder, making sure nobody's gonna snipe you down.
Precisely. And a lot of people have that courage, but they don't know the whole story. Right now they're thinking, oh, it's just Obama who's doing this evil shit to us. Bush did a lot of the same shit that Obama did, and nobody bitched then. You know why? It's because we have this left versus right mentality. That's not the problem. The problem is the system we got right now. Nothing's going to change because we have too many assholes that are making backdoor deals with each other.
You know, if this was going on in the 1700s, there would be riots in the fucking streets. In the 1700s, when we founded this country, people were willing to die for the freedoms that we have now. Now it's not about are you willing to die for your freedoms? It's what would you do for a fucking Klondike bar? To which I say, fuck you, I'm going to Friendly's.
Oh god, you won't believe the shit people were willing to do for a cigarette at Job Corps. Jesse, fill them in.
A lot of fellatio?
Yes. You have no
man
idea.
Man fellatio?
Yes.
By the way, for all the dumb people watching this, fellatio means to suck a cock.
You know what? It didn't stop at fellatio either. Full-blown ass fuckings in order to get a goddamn cigarette. And you know, with the economy tanking the way it is...
Jesus, man, it's tobacco, not heroin. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, 16 was fucking insanely addictive.
I'm not that addictive to fucking. I'm not
Get
gonna
on
suck a
opiates.
dick.
Get on opiates. Let me tell you something. If you're on opiates right now, unless you're on opiates, you don't know what addictive is. Not that I've been on any, but trust me.
I've met a few people who've done opiates, and
You're,
yeah, it's fucking insane, the effects.
You're not- dude, you're not gonna have a life. If you gave up tobacco cold turkey, you're not gonna have to worry about a life-threatening seizure.
Oh
Well, I
god,
assume you've heard of Spice, right?
I have.
Spence?
Are we talking about a legitimate drug or the one from Dune?
This is a legitimate drug.
Okay.
It is a synthetic marijuana.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Actually, I've heard of that.
I had a friend who used to do a lot of that shit. His heart almost exploded.
That shit is addictive, and I've been on that.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
God damn it, Spence.
Why must you reference that shitty movie? Why?
I want to see it. Brad Dourif is an amazing actor.
Then again, he might not be referencing the movie. He could be referencing the books, or he could be referencing the games.
I've been in the games. I don't know. I don't play real-time strategy. Sorry.
I love
Not
real-time
my-
strategy.
You should get the Alien vs. Predator one for the PS2. Is it Extinction? Anyways, yeah, you know.
Fucking mosquitoes.
And one of my latest videos that I posted, teen pregnancy on the fucking rise. And to the point, it's becoming such norm that people treat it like it's actually a planned pregnancy. It's like, oh my god, you're gonna have a baby! Not, oh my god, you fucked up your young adulthood.
Why the fuck are they doing this so much? And another thing is that you have so many people not only glorifying it, saying that if you don't want it, the government should be paying for your contraceptives. If you don't want to get pregnant, then you can either A, don't fuck, or B, buy your own contraceptives. Well, what if they can't afford it? Then don't fuck. But they can't control their urges. Look, I have been laid in well over a year. I can control my urges. If I really have a problem controlling it, I punch myself in the dick. That is not a joke at all.
Okay, hold on. Like, I understand, like, the pill, you have to pay, like, look, I understand that women, they you know, if they're not on a contraceptive plan, on a medical plan that gives you this, they don't, they can't afford the pill. But how much money do you need to afford a pack of condoms? Women, it's not just for men anymore. Women have condoms. They have the sponge. They have a bunch of other things that I don't even know. We have inexpensive means of protection and contraception, and people don't use it because I don't even know. Maybe because they wanted to reenact a scene they saw on fucking youporn.com where he fucks, jacks it, and jizzes on the face. Listen, I made this point in my video, but for those who haven't seen my channel and haven't seen this video, I made a point to say that, you know, if you're gonna do the pull out and jizz on the face routine, you should take into consideration pre-cum. What is pre-cum? Well, if you're a man and you've ever masturbated, midway towards the orgasm point, sometimes you'll get a little drop of jizz that kind of secretes out. That's called pre-cum. Now, to you, it may look like nothing. It looks like a couple of drops of semen. You know how much sperm are in a couple of drops of semen? Thousands or even millions.
I just called out the warning to grab the tissues, so, yeah.
It's stupid that people have to even be educated on this, that we even have to talk about this. Why should we? Oh, because people are too fucking stupid. I hate that. I really do.
I bet you that a lot of Americans right now are so stupid that when they orgasm, they think it's toothpaste coming out of their fucking dick. They think think it's naturally, natural hair gel.
Just imagine them brushing their teeth with that.
You're a terrible person, Jesse.
Somebody was gonna have to come up with that image, because I sure wasn't.
Oh God, it's in my mind now. Say something to get it out. Oh my God, it's inside my head. Please do something.
It's like
Get
that
rid
scene
of it.
from There's Something About Mary. You remember that scene?
Thankfully, I've not watched that movie.
Of a toothbrush and starts brushing.
You're an ass, bro. That's terrible.
If there's any consolation, this was all my fault. But yeah, I seriously think that.
It's
I really do.
we
How do you
shouldn't
tell
have
if you
these
have a
problems.
high sperm count?
Is this a riddle or a legitimate question?
Biddable.
You
I
know
don't know.
what? I don't want to know because I'm not going to be fucking anything, and I just want that mystery to be there. I'm not touching anyone for a long time.
When you decide to brush your teeth with your own semen, you have to chew it beforehand, otherwise you choke.
Oh, God. Oh no! The image in my head.
The image is in my head too, but it's not as disturbing because I'm more demented than both of you combined.
I will not. Yeah, Jesse's pretty fucked up.
But in the purpose of trying to get this image out of their head, you know, it's not that hard to put on a condom if you're a guy. And I'm sure if you're a girl, you can figure it out if you have half a brain. If you're as long as you're not a fucking chimp, I think you can figure out putting a condom on, a female condom on.
You know, there's an episode about sex ed from South Park. You can watch that shit. Mr.
I
Garrison.
think I've seen the majority of that episode on TV, by the way.
Mr. Garrison shows all the fucking kindergartners how to put on a condom properly. First you stick it in your mouth, and then you ride it down the penis.
I saw that episode, Marty.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what, usually South Park episodes kind of have a point to them. I have no idea what the point of that episode was.
I can explain that, and that's that people were talking about sex education at younger and younger ages. Because fucking Kyle's mom, as usual, ruined shit, and she wanted kids to have sexual education. When you're fucking 12.
I remember we first had I remember the first, semblance of sex education I had was in 5th grade. This is going back to 1998, between 1998 and 1999. They're showing this, that typical video. Johnny is noticing there is some changes going on.
I got all my sunset from the internet and YouTube. It's actually
1999 was a great year. That's when I discovered internet porn, and this is during the dial-up days still. It was during the time when fucking when high-speed internet had just come out and that nobody was using it because it was too expensive.
When it would take 3 hours just for a picture to load.
I remember that time period. I was into cartoon porn back then.
You got mail.
Oh my God, Sailor Moon, you're so beautiful.
I remember back then I was conning older women into thinking I was 30, and I was really like 12.
Oh man, AOL was a great. My latter AOL days was a great time. You know, oh my goodness, I just realized early in my high school years I still had AOL. That's how fucking behind the times my parents were. But I remember I would look up porn sites, and then they would just shortly enough, fucking I get those. Would you like to make your dick 3 inches bigger? I'm like, how the fuck would this happen? I don't want to know.
It's not a pill, it's a massage.
I'm still wondering where they get my damn email address from.
They look up your IP. The government, man.
No, I have 16 different email addresses. All to throw them all.
And they know them all, dude. time you make a new email address, the NSA gets a letter. Like, this guy Jesse just made a new email address. What's he gonna do? If he the moment he looks up a porno of a girl that's underage, we're gonna get him.
I use fake names. So. Yeah.
You're still fucked. But anyway, where the fuck were we in the seriousness of the topic?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, sex education. Oh yeah, sex education. Yeah, you know, I know this is a controversial thing to say, but I think if we could like be more serious about our sex education and not be so prudish about it, to the point where in our high schools we have a nice dish in the main office full of Trojan condoms, and encourage people to use protection instead of saying, well, you need to be celibate. That's the only surefire way. Look, we've all been teenagers.
What you're talking about does work. It's just, they had that at the college I was going to, and it was really fucking awkward to walk up there and take one of those things.
Another thing is this. When Job Corps was handing out free condoms, the pregnancy went up.
Yeah, those things didn't work.
Well, they're not using the right condoms. I don't know. I'm just saying
You had like
that something needs to be done, and the old ways aren't working. I think the sex ed classes are too prudish. I think parents are too mum about this. They're too. We need to stop. Parents need to be stopped. We as a whole need to stop being so prudish and stop being so disturbed. And as parents, stop being so disturbed about telling our kids about sex and stop being so disturbed about the idea that their teenager is having sex. If you're a teenager, look, I'm a virgin. I've never had sex, but I know that a lot of people in my high school were having sex. One girl in particular got knocked up. But you know, I think if parents come to the exception that their child come to the realization that their children are going to have sex as a teenager, whether you tell them to or not, that possibility is imminent. Instead of thumping your Bible or cherishing the days when your daughter was a little girl, come to reality and tell them, look, I know you're a teenager. I know you're going to have sex at some point. You're going to want to have sex at some point. You're going to have a boyfriend, you know, and the temptation may be overwhelming, and you're going to want to have sex. Here's a list of how to do it responsibly.
Another thing is that a lot of kids actually have sex after sex education, because a lot of the times in sex education classes, they talk about things that make it feel extra good. Like in the South Park episode, when they talked about sex education, they mentioned a few things that they shouldn't have fucking mentioned at all. Like, they mentioned autoerotic asphyxiation is when you jack off and then you suffocate yourself because it feels really awesome. Kenny fucking died that way. You know how many other kids... You know, as soon as, like, after the fucking sex education class happened in my high school, a lot of girls got pregnant.
Marty, I'm talking about the basics. I'm not talking about fetishes. Leave the fetishes to the people. Leave the discovery of fetishes to the kids. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fucking the basics.
That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about these fucking kids learning more about it, and it's sounding, because it's made into a taboo, they fucking like that shit even more. They want to try that shit even more because it's a taboo, because how they present it in the sex ed classes.
Well, then don't you think we should maybe not present it as a taboo? Maybe present it to the reality that sex is normal. Wanting to have sex is normal, and the reason why it's normal is because that's how we have children.
Precisely. That's what we should do, but are we going to do it? That all depends on the adults, and most adults are more mature than the fucking kids, it seems.
If I start screaming suddenly like a crazy man, I may have set myself on fire accidentally.
God damn it, Jesse.
Decided to light a candle and I don't know how it's going to work, so...
I'm going to urinate. I shall return. But still, continue on, Spence.
Okay.
I can hear you from the bathroom.
I'm trying to think. when you guys leave me alone like this, especially Marty, when you leave me alone like this, I don't know how to fucking continue on. But I'll try my best.
You just can't live without him.
No, I can't. He's a sexy motherfucker. But parents need to teach children how to have sex responsibly. You ever, they talk up, you have these alcohol commercials. Please drink responsibly, and you look at and you know what they mean by that. What about having sex responsibly? Sex is a more natural need than to drink.
Precisely.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's easier to have to have unwanted conception than it is to get drunk and driving your car. Well, I don't know if it's easier, but
it fucking happens.
Yes. But we can't deny the fact that fucking unplanned pregnancies are at an all-time high, and something needs to be done. It has to be done without the involvement of the religious right.
Another thing is that you see an overglorification for it from the left. Oh my god, you're having a baby, it's so awesome! Fucking stupid shit like 16 and pregnant showing up. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have shows like that. Maybe it puts a bad image in the kids' minds. It used to be, oh my god, I'm 16 and pregnant, I'm going to get beaten up by my mom, and my life is going to be over. Now, it's I'm 16 and pregnant, I'm going to be on TV.
Exactly. Or I'm 16 or these kids, all these girls, and there are some girls, and I'm going to say sometimes it is wanted, but sometimes these pregnancies are wanted, maybe on one side, like the girl, gets pregnant and goes, ooh, I'm going to have a baby, I'm going to be a mom early. Then they have the kid and they realize real fast they don't know how to fucking take care of the fucking thing. That kid grows up, their mother was abusive and neglectful, and then they realize that the mother didn't even want him, he or she to begin with, and then they start turning to drugs, or better yet, in an almost genetic and pathological fashion, they have an unwanted pregnancy, an unwanted children of their own.
My ex.
That's the interesting thing. I've noticed that unwanted pregnancies tend to be most prevalent in people that were accidents themselves.
My fucking ex was trying to get pregnant before there was any idea on how she'd take care of it. She was trying to get pregnant when I was around, when I was dating her. But then the moment I pissed her off, because she found out I was going to Job Corps, suddenly she doesn't like me anymore, and she's cheating on me with some fucking drug addict by the name of Rex Hacker, who loved to say his own name. This shit happens entirely way too much, and too often.
I love fire.
God
if they want to take away a right in this country, I think the right to have kids at an irresponsible age should be taken away.
But at the same time, that violate other things. The thought would be, you start off like this, but then it's going to evolve into other things. Let's look at the past before there were so many unwanted pregnancies. How was things handled then? It wasn't glorified that you were an underage mother who didn't know who the fucking father was. Now, it doesn't matter if you know who the father is. Oh my god, you're having a baby! Oh my god!
How sad is that? You have an unwanted pregnancy and decide to keep a child when you don't even know who the father is because you were fucking like 10,000 guys that last month. Okay, that's an exaggeration.
STD by that point.
What?
How would they not have an STD by that point?
Julie.
Oh, Marty, I don't know if you saw that video that I did do about the unwanted pregnancy issue in America, but I asked you why the media covers unwanted pregnancies but never covers people having STDs.
Because STDs aren't sexy.
I figured that was the case, but I wanted to ask you.
That, and part of me actually thinks that they want this to happen. that they want this to happen because you're going to have more people subservient to the government. You're going to have more people looking at the state as the fatherhood rather than the family. And you look at the family, it's broken up nowadays. I mean, the family isn't what it used to be. Like, my family used to be very tightly knit. And now, it's pretty much just my dad and my aunt hanging out. That's it. You don't see any real shit going on with family. You don't see that family binds that you used to see in families of old. But now, it's, you move out of your house, you don't give two shits and a fuck about your family. The end.
Okay, Marty. Here's the point I wanted to make, and I wanted to look it up just to make sure. In 1999, when I was in 6th grade, I remember that day like it was yesterday, like it was hell, like it was even. I'll even go like it was earlier today. In 6th grade, I had a primary class and a secondary class. And in secondary class, we were doing this demonstration. I don't remember all the details, but they were demonstrating the fact that the Earth was about to reach 6 billion. That the Earth's population was about to reach 6 billion. As of 2012, it had reached over 7 billion. In a matter of a little over a decade, our entire population, the planet's population, reached 7 billion. I hate to break it to you folks, but a lot of the Earth's population is right here in this country. We are a big fucking country.
You're right about that.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's been so many illegitimate pregnancies with people at a very young age. I think a lot of that factors into it. Then again, I could be very ignorant and inadvertently perhaps creating an agenda-driven story of my own. So
along with that, I have another thing I'd like to say. You also look at first world nations, like the population in America and Japan is actually going down. China, the moment they started going all super first world, the population of it's going down. It used to be a shame to have a kid, more than one child, and now they need the people to fuck a lot more because they can't handle the way the population growth is going, especially since they have more males than they have females. Like, if you're a woman in China, you're very well desired. You look at first world nations. There are so many nations out there that are having issues with the population because as soon as any country gets civilized, the population growth goes down tremendously. And at the same time, you look at third world nations and they do a lot of fucking. You got people like Bill Gates saying things like, oh, too many people are fucking, we need to reduce the population. Yeah, he actually fucking said that. So, what do? Rather than keeping the nation down into its third world state, why don't you just, what's the word I'm looking for? Help it come into the first world? That's what I would think would be the appropriate response. But no, you gotta sterilize the people. You also got a lot of sterilants within the food nowadays. You also got a lot of shit in the food that you don't need there. Have you ever heard about the studies that was done with soy?
No.
Okay, there was a controlled study. I can't remember exactly who did it, but there was a controlled study that was done giving soybeans and shit like that, to monkeys. Now, there were two results of this, two big ones. Well, not monkeys, chimpanzees. It is a big difference, trust me. The different results were this. You had most of the monkeys, most of the chimps, becoming very, very submissive to the more aggressive chimps. And the chimps that were aggressive became fucking violent. Very, very, very violent. And yet you see soy, unfermented soy, all over in pretty much everything that you got. In all our food. You see so much of that shit. Along with that, you also see extreme amounts of feminism around the boys these days. I mean, you look at the guys these days, a lot of them actually look like women.
Fucking pansies.
Yeah. And you
If
see
you see
guys
what
that,
I've looked like recently, you know I don't look anything like a woman.
yeah.
My mouth may look like a Big Mama Muff, but I don't look like a woman.
Yeah, but at the same time, you see so many guys who look and behave more like women than they do men. A lot of
I
these
can't tell you
trends
how much it pisses me off when I see a guy who is like so thin it is ridiculous.
and the girls call that sexy.
I'd rather have it when guys with 6-pack abs were sexy to them. At least I was more masculine looking.
Yes. Yes.
I'll never get to that point. I don't think I'll ever look like that in my lifetime, but I'd rather that be the idea of sexy rather than built like a fucking number 2 pencil.
Exactly. But you see so much of this shit, though. You see so many of the boys acting like women. And I'm not just talking like the shock rock when the dudes wore makeup in the 80s and shit. I'm talking about dudes actually behaving like women. And you can see it in a lot of other people today, too. Let me give you an example.
Before you do that, I want to say, you're not thinking about shock rock. It's called hair metal.
Okay, yeah. You see so many guys act like assholes. But the moment you stand up to beat their ass, they start freaking out and getting scared. It used to be if you did that, you'd get your ass kicked. But not so much anymore. They get scared, like little bitches. And that pisses me off a lot.
Don't you miss the good old days? Was like where you could walk down the street and eventually you'll get to somebody who's like, "What the fuck you say about my girl? You fucking do," and they just scuffle on the ground and beat the fucking shit out of each other.
I prefer
When I was in high school, men were still. It was like the last days of men still being men. I remember one kid who was like 2 grades above me came in one day missing a tooth. Why did he miss a tooth? Because he got into a fight and a motherfucker punched it out of his fucking skull.
Yeah, nowadays, even me and my small Asian body, the moment somebody mouths off, if I was to stand up and threaten to kick their ass, they would say, "Oh, I'd like to see you do that." And the moment I stood up, they was like, "Hey, I was just kidding, man. Come on, come on." Stupid fucking bitches. Why the fuck is everyone such a pussy? Oh yeah, it could possibly be because of the shit we got in our food. There's a lot of factors going in onto why so many people are bitches. And why society's broken down.
Because I think the stigma of federal penalty involved with physical altercations, I think also has to do with it. It's not that they're afraid to get into a fight and get a little beat up, it's also because they're afraid to go to jail. Because back in the Old West, I remember it was described perfectly when I was vacationing. I think it was around 2008. I vacationed in Arizona. I went to Tombstone one time, and they were talking about the Old West, and they were talking about how, back then, if you punched somebody in the face, you were seen as an honorable person who stood up for himself. But now, if you punch somebody in the face, you go right to jail.
It was the liberals. They got tired of getting their asses kicked.
Of course it was.
They got tired of getting their asses kicked because, they said a few things that pissed a few people off. Because, most of the time I see somebody say something to piss me off, they've got a very leftist view. So, it makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, and God forbid if you're a white man and God forbid in this day and age if you're a white and you get into a physical altercation with a black man,
you're automatically
even if you win
racist.
The fight, you lose. And I'm not saying this as a white person. I'm saying this as a legitimate fact because we are programmed to feel sympathy towards black people for what we did to them, what we quote-unquote did to them. I had nothing to fucking do with it, just to let you know. But what our forefathers did to them, making them slaves, we bought into this sympathy to the point where if you get into a fight with, it could be over. It doesn't even have to be about race. It could be over. You talking shit to my girl, fucking shit like that, and you get into a fight with this black person.
You're automatically a racist.
What?
You're automatically
the
racist.
the black person could go to the cops and say, this man committed a hate crime, automatically, kunk, hate crime.
Precisely.
At that
and
point,
it's
we might as
stupid.
well be living in the Judge Dredd universe, because if you're in a fight and you with a black, if you're white and you're in a fight with a black man, you're already guilty before the gavel hits the fucking podium.
True.
And it's sickening.
It is.
And yet they have the goal to call that equal rights. It's not equal rights. It's sympathy mongering.
That's exactly what it is. And I hate that shit. And what this does is it divides the people. Now my YouTube handle is Flip the Angry Asian. I put that up there before I had a lot of these views. I just wanted to make a rant channel where I ranted and rambled about people doing stupid shit. And it became political because I see so much shit that's just stupid. Too many people want to look at themselves and separate themselves based upon genetic dispositions. I'm Asian, physically. But other than that, the only things I have that are stereotypical Asian is I have a small penis, I can't drive for shit, but that's because I don't fucking try. And yet, I can't do math, I can't do other shit. Why don't we stop looking at ourselves as our special interest group and start looking at ourselves as American? I believe in the right to freedom of speech. I believe in the right to bear arms. I believe in the right to privacy. And yet so many fuckers don't. Because, you know what? Yeah. They feel as though that if they can violate your rights, it's going to make them more safe. It's going to make them feel special. It's going to make them able to get farther in history. When really, all it does is it keeps people down.
And sometimes it's not even like that extreme. Sometimes, you know, they're not even trying to make a mark in history. They feel this superficial sense of power because, look what I did to that person. I made him apologize. I put him in jail. And it's sickening. You're ruining a person's life over exploitative dog shit. I'm Jewish. You're Asian. I'm Jewish. You know what? I only share two things in common with the Jewish people. My penis was circumcised by a mohel, and I like girls with hook noses. Okay? That's the only thing I have in common.
I'm actually looking up something on the Rodney King. I can't remember the exact crime he did, but he pissed off the cops a lot.
What is that stereotype about Irish people? We're all drunks or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You're all drunks, and you're angry all the fucking time.
Okay, I'm not drunk all the time, and I'm rarely ever angry. So.
You drink a lot, but I've only seen you angry like 5 times.
My friend, as a Jew, I can't tell you how many people would like throw pennies at me. It's like, well, I don't want your fucking penny. A friend of mine would I think he tells me he hated pennies. I think he just did it because he I think we all have friends who legitimately have some sort of prejudice against you, but it's like pushed down. This guy, didn't like having pennies supposedly, so he'd always hand me his pennies. And I think that was submissive racism. But you know what? I think people have the freedom to have submissive racism or any form of racism.
I think it's perfectly okay for somebody to be a racist. Well, on the level of freedom of speech, I think it's disgusting that someone could be racist, but I'm not going to stop them from being it.
I'd rather see the Ku Klux Klan march down my road than to go on the news and see a politician or even the president or whatever year that would be saying you can't say this, this.
I hate that. I do. A lot of this hate crime shit. Oh, he called me the N-word. That's a violation of my right to freedom of speech. Did anyone ever think that maybe, perhaps, by banning these words, they become a taboo, and so it makes it more awesome for some fucking kid to start screaming that shit at me on an online game?
And the cherry to top this Sunday is that derogatory slang terms have become so taboo that you can't even use it in a quote, or else you'll get in trouble. Like I remember, like what was it on the listening to one of the clips on the Opie and Anthony show? They were talking about they were talking about this news reporter who on the news quoted an actual racist talking about how this person beat up a guy and said that he just ran over that effing nigger. He said it as a quote in the news story he was talking about, and he had and that this person got in trouble and had to apologize. How fucked up is that? You can't even use it as a reference to somebody else's racism.
It's stupid.
It's enraging.
It is. And it shouldn't be that way, ever. People should have the right to say these racist shit. I don't like hearing it, but I will die before I allow somebody to sit there and say I can't say this shit. If I want to say nigger, I will say nigger. I don't care. I don't.
I will go up in front of a stage in front of thousands of fucking people screaming at me, "Die, you fucking kike! Burn in hell, you fucking hiney!" Than to see our First Amendment crossed off the fucking rule book.
And I'm the same way. It's
okay,
dumb.
Gook.
Well timed.
Actually, that's Vietnamese. Actually, those are Vietnamese people. Oh my god, did I offend you, Vietnamese people? Shut up.
I've been called gook, I've been called slant, and because of my tan color, people have confused me for Mexican. People confused me for black because there's only like 5 black people in the entire town.
I don't understand this kid, Marty Fisher. He comes into our high school. He looks kind of Asian, kind of Hispanic, but he's got a white man's name. I don't get it.
That's exactly what it's like. I don't understand why he has to have the white man's name. We need to call him Juan Ping del Toro. That way he fits in better and knows his place below my white man feet.
Dude, your name's whiter than mine, okay?
Honestly, I am one of those people that confused him for a Mexican when I first saw him.
It's like, dude, my first 5 minutes at Job Corps, I sit down at the table, and my Oreo, Julio, and by Oreo, I mean orientation, you stupid fucks who are automatically being racist. Fucking, my Oreo, he comes up to me, starts speaking to me in Spanish. She's the only Mexican who's ever done this, and this guy is the stereotypical Mexican. Not going into that, though. Oh, and he starts talking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, dude, I don't speak Spanish. He's like, what?
Okay, that reminds me of something else. Something else the liberals like to throw into their agenda. That people who claim that if you live in this country you must speak English are racist. Let me tell you something. I would never live in a country who predominantly speaks another language unless I speak that language. It has nothing to do with racism. It has all to do with respect for the country you live in. If you live in America, you speak English. If you live in the UK, you speak English. If you live in Germany, you speak German. If you live in Spain or Mexico, you speak Spanish. If you live in Sweden, you speak Swedish. If you live in Denmark, you speak Danish. It has nothing to do with bigotry towards immigrants. It has to do with respect for this country.
But they don't understand that. They want to push multiculturalism to the point of stupidity on people. Well, maybe this hasn't occurred to anybody, but as soon as you have any nation that has more than one culture, you start to have issues.
Here's how bad the language situation is in this country, thanks to the liberal scumbags. I love Spanish. I actually do love Hispanic culture. One of my favorite things to do, one of the things I like to do from time to time is go to a Spanish-speaking not Spanish speaking, but like a Hispanic neighborhood, so I can get Malta. I don't know if you've ever seen Malta Goya in the supermarkets. It's basically like a soda made from malted barley, and it's a very popular drink in the Hispanic culture. Here's the thing: you go to ShopRite or Pathmark or AMP, they only have Malta Goya. But if you go to a Hispanic supermarket or a Hispanic market or whatever, they'll have various different brands of Malta, and I like to explore those various different brands. Here's the problem: when I go into those stores, I'd be like, do you have Malta? Do you have Malta? And they'll be like, me no speak English.
Speak English, fucker. You're in this country. You might as well learn the fucking language.
The reason why citizens here have a problem, and I'm echoing, by the way, the reason why people have a problem with people coming in this country and not speaking the language has nothing to do with bigotry towards the people. It has to do with feeling a lack of respect for this country. You come to a country that speaks a predominant language, you learn that language, assuming you don't know it already. It goes for any country.
I mean, we're the only country that does that. I mean, if I went to Iraq...
Hey.
Yeah?
I'm going to point this out here. Just for the sake of not blowing up Marty's computer, we've been going on for about an hour now. You might want to cut the recording and start again.
Well, or I can cut it in half later.
That too, but it's really difficult to render anything longer than an hour.
I haven't had issues with it. Skip. Okay, where the fuck was I at? Oh, like if I went over to the Philippines and told them they all had to speak English, or if I went over to Iraq and told them they had to speak Tagalog, or if I went to Japan and told them they had to speak Chinese. You know what happens if you go to Japan and you try to speak it and you tell them they gotta speak another language? They'll tell you to fuck off. They will. Because when you're in Japan, you accept their culture and you bow to fucking them. And we also look at the fucking crime families in Japan. They'll accept anyone, or at least most of them do, so long as you speak Japanese and adhere to the culture involved.
And of course, these same people who say these same people who bitch and who say that we need to respect, who in America we need to respect other people's cultures and their languages, and how hard it is to learn English in this country. They bitch when we stereotype them as being gardeners or construction workers or pool cleaners or house cleaners. You know why that stereotype exists? Because those are the jobs a lot of those people have. Why? Because they can't get any other jobs because they can't speak English. Or not can't speak English, they don't.
They don't want to a lot of time.
There's a guy I know in South River. His name is Adrian. He probably won't be listening to this video, but I have a lot of respect for this guy. He was born in Mexico. Born in Mexico. Moved to the United States, I believe, somewhere in the late 90s. This guy's a year younger than me. Speaks near perfect English. His parents don't speak English, but he speaks near perfect English. This guy, as a young generation person coming to this country, made an obligation to learn the language. But then I go to Perth Amboy, but then I'm like working. But then again, like years before, I'm working at Home Depot, and I go to Perth Amboy, and there's these two girls who are like in high school, and I'm like, hi, and I'm thinking, I'm going to try to flirt with them, talk with them a bit. I'm like, hi, how are you doing? And they're like, we don't speak English. Jesus fucking Christ. And these people wonder why they're in slums. They wonder why they can't get good jobs. Sorry, if you want a good job in this country, you speak the language. It's the same thing. It boils down to also black people. I'm not, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there are a lot of Hispanic people who speak English. the same goes with black people. There are black people who speak eloquently. But then you got the inner city blacks like, yo, mom, nigga, what's going on, you motherfucker, in the hizzy and the shizzy. And they wonder why they can't get good jobs and why they can't get out of the fucking projects. Because you speak like a fucking retard. White people, and that goes for white people. If you're going around, if you're a white man and you go around talking like you're in fucking, what was it, fucking swamp people, you're not gonna get a good job. That's why they work in a fucking swamp and not behind a desk. Because they're talking like this, sexual reproduction is a podcast where with the man and the woman have a baby.
That's exactly how it is. But too many people want to say, oh, no. Just give them a job. They'll be just as good as anyone else. You ever think that maybe that there were standards that are unspoken that need to be filled in order for somebody to get a job anywhere? These unspoken standards.
Then I also got it, but then, you also got those. But then again, liberals aren't always the guilty ones in this thing, because then you also got the conservatives who are like, these illegal immigrants, they're jumping the border and they're stealing American jobs. Yeah, the jobs the white man isn't doing. Shut the fuck up.
I hate that too. I really do. A lot of lazy white people don't want to do certain jobs. They want to have the minorities do it instead. I say, fuck you. If you don't want to garden, then have a bad fucking yard. If you're going to complain about it, don't hire the illegals in the first place. It's stupid as fuck. And I hate it. Now, what other topics do we want to cover before we're done?
Well, I just thought of another one. The elitism of this country and how conservatives can be oversensitive as well.
I would say we talked about Cthulhu.
God damn it, Jesse.
Okay, listen, I just remembered something. When I was, I believe, in high school, I think we were just getting into the war in Iraq. I don't exactly know verbatim what the debacle was with us and the French. Now, say what you want about the French. What did the French do to us besides refuse to help us in the war in Iraq? And then here are all the conservative Americans going around going, they're not French fries, they're freedom fries, and then throwing French wine into the fucking sewer. Oh, boo fucking who? The Frenchies aren't gonna help you. So don't say I'm a fucking, so nobody watching this claim I'm a fucking conservative because I'm talking about how the liberals are oversensitive. No, the conservatives are just as guilty as being oversensitive at certain things. Usually it pertains to people not being the ideal Americans in their eyes, or people overseas that aren't going to help them in their shitty fucking wars.
We don't need to be over there in the first place, and yet we are told we have to. We don't need to be over there. Why did we launch a full-scale invasion when what we should have done was have our SIGINT ninjas go in there and take out the leadership of Al-Qaeda? Why didn't we send in our fucking CIA guys? Nah, we gotta go in there and get the oil as well. Spoils of war.
Why are we having a whose dick is bigger debate with fucking Russia right now? Newsflash, dumbasses. Fucking, the Cold War's over.
That and Russia's got much better soldiers, so right now America's acting like the fucking, how do I say it?
World police?
No. Like, remember how earlier I said a guy will be, in this day and age, will sit there and mouth off until somebody decides to shove their fist up their face?
Yeah.
That's what America's doing right now, because we almost went to war with Russia over some shit in Syria. We almost went to Syria and went to war, but then Russia decided to say, fuck you, you're not doing this. Essentially, Russia saved us from World War III ever happening.
And yet they're the bad guys. And we're the good guys, because we're America. Red, white, blue, up your ass and down your throat like a gay porno threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Long party.
I'm sorry. Did I touch? Sorry, did I touch upon your sensitivity?
No, that just made me think of Lemon Party.
God damn it. We need to shut this video down. Holy shit, that was huge.
See what I mean? Should have cut it off.
No, I was talking about some bombs going down.
Oh.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we need to shut it down soon, though.
Okay, let's just end it right here. Final statements from you two, and then I'll make a final statement.
The world is fucked the way we're doing things now, and it pisses me off. Why the fuck are we doing so much stupid shit? Why don't we actually begin to actually work on doing things that are helpful in the long run rather than looking at things in a just now situation? Like so many other people are doing.
All hail Cthulhu, the Lord of all.
God damn it, Jesse.
And Cthulhu on the brain.
And if I could end to end this from my statement, folks, it doesn't really take a genius to see that there's something fucked up in the air going on in America. America, since the 1970s, maybe even further back than that, has been going on a decline, whether it be a decline of intelligence, a decline in bravery. There is a decline of decent humanity in this country. I went I was born on leap day of 1988, and I've seen music get good, and I've seen music get to shit. I've seen television be good and go to shit. I've seen all sorts of. I'm an entertainment buff. I've seen things go good and go to shit, and I feel the same way about this country. This country used to be a lot better than it was. And then 9/11 happened, and the floodgates opened, and for politicians to take away our rights and encourage stupidity for the quote-unquote greater good of this country. And something needs to be done to stop it. There has to come a point where we stop talking and start walking.
And kick them into a junction of death.
Let me finish. In the hip-hop community, I don't know who said it, but I can't remember exactly who said it, but I remember a line that would always be engraved in my mind. Talk is cheap, motherfucker. I feel that truer words can never be said. We're not the only ones ranting about this. There are people all over YouTube ranting about how fucked up our country is right now. But there has to come a point where we need to stop talking and start doing. What do I have the answers as to what we are to do? No, I don't. But something has to be done because the more we talk and the less we do, the more we enable this country to continue its downfall down the flusher, down the toilet, into the sewers.
Exactly.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
And can we kick them out of the giant pit of death?
Yes, Jesse, we can, when all of this is over.